Choose to feel better. How can you feel better by making a choice? Or do you even think that that's possible? Or do you think that you need certain things to happen, that you first need to change your life in order to feel better? I don't think that's the case. I think that we can make the choice to feel a certain way actually whatever happens, and it doesn't depend on the outer circumstances. And there are so many proofs for this. First, because for one given situation you can put like two people, one rich guy and one poor guy, and the rich guy will be super pissed because he's already used to that kind of situation, let's say like a normal day in his villa. And the homeless guy, it will be the best day of his life, and they're experiencing exactly the same thing. So their senses are just like taking in the exact same things, and one does feel super good and the other feels super bad. And I think that the reason why that happens is that circumstances and what happens in the outer world is completely neutral, and that what actually makes us happy and what counts is the perspective we have on our lives and on our circumstances. So what you can try to do when you feel bad is to see what perspective you have that makes you feel bad. And for me, for example, I've noticed that when I have for I'm teaching like languages online, and when I have a lesson that in which like I feel super bored, or when I notice that I actually feel bad during the lesson, most of the time I can like um how do you say, track down or something, or I can like look for the thought that gave me this feeling. And most of the time it's like, oh, I want to be like in 1 hour when it's going to be done, and I'm going to be doing this and this and this. And if I didn't think that, if I was just present in my body and I was happy that I'm able to have a job that pays for my food, and that I have a house, that I have a comfortable chair to sit on, that I will have an awesome weekend or stuff like that, I would have felt a lot better than thinking that, oh my god, man, I wanted to go or to pass so quickly because I don't like that. And I've noticed that when I am aware of the thought and the perspective that I have, I can actually make the choice to feel better, because then I can stop thinking about the fact that right now I'm so bored and that in 1 hour it's gonna be better, and I can choose to think about something different. And when you do that consciously, you actually feel better, because you just like can choose every thought that you want. You can try, like you can choose to focus on any thought that you want, and I mean, this is gonna make you feel better. And the thing is, like, at the beginning it's a little bit hard because our brains are wired, or maybe not wired, I don't know, but they're like in a default mode where they always focus on the negative stuff, because that's how I was raised. That's what I learned in life. I always focus on the negative stuff because, like, for example, right now, if I had my foot which was hurting, I would probably focus on that all the time and be pissed. And this is completely insane because everything else in my life is perfect. I'm healthy. I'm young. I'm. I mean, I have stuff to eat. I live in Europe. I live in a rich area, and I focus on a fucking foot. Isn't that fucking insane? So I choose to make myself unhappy by focusing on the shitty stuff. And this is easy to say, but it's actually a lot harder to do, because your brain has kind of it's kind of a wheel that's rolling, and if it's rolling in the wrong direction, it's hard to like make it stop. It's hard to like stop it and make it roll in another direction. It takes time, because your brain is like a fucking horse, and you have to first like calm it and make it focus on something else. And it has to become a habit. It's like a muscle that you train. And at the beginning, you're like, fuck, I mean, this is so hard. It's a lot easier for me to focus on the negative stuff because it doesn't take me energy. I do that automatically all the time. And to focus on the positive stuff actually takes energy. It takes conscious effort. And this is the hard part. But if you do it on a consistent basis, if you make like the habit of focusing on the better stuff in your life rather than the shitty stuff, then you can actually feel better. And there's also one other thing, and it is that our brain is like a filter, and it just filters out 99% of the information that we get from the outer world. And it focuses only on, I don't know, a certain set of things so that we are not overwhelmed, because there's so many things outside. We cannot focus on everything. We don't have the power to do this. And what you can choose to do is to shift that and try to focus on the outer stuff, like that's cool. For example, you can try to go back to your body and feel your feet and feel your hands and feel your belly and feel your nose, just like consciously you're feeling into your body. You can do that. Normally we don't do that on default either, because we're in our head so much and we're thinking always about the future, about what is going to happen or what has happened and what we didn't like. But you can choose to focus on like the air, on whatever, you know. And this is something that's cool too. So you can think about what you want, and you can choose the perspective that you want, and you can also focus physically in terms of like with your senses on the things that you prefer. You can focus on the comfortable chair and whatever. And so it might be hard in some situations to do this, but I think it's always possible. And I think for most of us, it's probably doable, like realistically. For some people, maybe it's gonna be fucking hard because their life sucks, I don't know, but for most of us, this can be actually like something that we can do. Thank you.